So baby, stay with me. I'm living for the highlights, living for our dreams.
All right, welcome to 2025. Happy New Year. I'm not really sure what the cutoff date is for saying Happy New Year, but we'll go with it. Yeah, I'm going to try to be a little bit more on the ball here this year with giving more updates than just maybe a pre-race and a post-race video. So doing one in January to talk a little bit about off-season, where I'm at now, my schedule, and yeah, that whatever else we have time for. So yeah, 2024 was a big year. It was the last 2 years have been a lot of international travel, a lot of travel in general. Last year was a lot less time away from home, which I appreciated. Obviously, with the addition of Livy, that was pretty much the plan. And I was lucky enough that the Ironman Pro Series had enough US races that I only had to do 2 international trips, and one of them was an optional one. I didn't have to go to Frankfurt, I chose to. So that was great. This year, there's plenty of US races still, but there's gonna be a little bit more international travel, and that's okay. We knew that coming in, and made it nice to be home a lot more last year. But with last year being so big and long and going into early December on a high level of fitness, right? Like I said in my post-race recap, having to get into a sprint finish for the last paycheck and 50 weeks into the season did not feel good. I was happy to have the mental fortitude to get through that little last battle at the end, but it was definitely time for a break. So I did absolutely nothing for 8 or 9 days. Then I went back to Iowa, saw my family, spent some time with Ashley's family. Anytime you've got that many people cooped up in the house, I had to get out. So I was able to, my sister and I went and swam a couple times, went on a couple of runs, took the dog for some long walks, those types of things, but nothing structured until January 1. So I went from 70.3 Worlds till January 1 without structure. The last week before January, I did a minimum of an hour of activity a day, which isn't that much relative to where I usually am. And my CTL went from going into Kona just shy of 200 to about 115, which was a little bit the goal. I had the surgery late in the year last year. I really wanted to just lose a lot of fitness, but that hurts when you start getting into the swing of thing in January. So the first couple of weeks of January have not felt amazing, especially in the water. I dove right into, that wasn't supposed to be a pun, but I went right into a swim block and been doing 6 days a week with big swims, not just easy getting in splash, but not a ton of speed, but a lot of volume. And that obviously is not my happy place anyways, but it's a necessary thing, and January is obviously the time to do that. On the bike, we actually started with a heat block, and again, I'm gonna give my age here, but I've had the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner going through my head a lot lately. Like, ours is not to wonder why, ours is but to do and die. And as a coach, it might not be the way that I would start things, but as an athlete, I've been with Julie since 2016. We had a great year last year. We've had a lot of great years. There's no reason for me to question what we're doing. I understand, after we talk a little bit about it, I understand the benefits of that. But man, it sucks when you're trying to grind long intervals at race pace before you're really fit, and you're adding extra layers as well. But hopefully that'll make the next block, which will probably be a sweet spot threshold block on the bike that we hit in February, feel a little bit easier. The hope is to have a higher plasma volume because of the heat block. That's a big adaptation that you get. So do that before you get fit, and then hopefully the fitness comes a little bit faster is kind of the rationale there. And then running, we're again doing 6 to 7 runs a week, a couple double days. Thankfully, I've been feeling good. I'm healthy, and yeah, so this week was my first day of really any interval work. Before it's just been going through the motions. So we're in week 3 now, and so yeah, it's been going through the motions before this week, and then now we're hitting some intervals. Last week we did a lot of longer hills as part of the aerobic, so I purposely chose the hilliest route that I possibly could, and let the hills dictate the intensity. This week we had some structured intensity, a track session, and then again I'll do a brick run on Saturday, and then Sunday just another longer hilly run if I can get outside. It's supposed to be miserable, but that's what things will look like for January, and I'll come back at you and talk a little bit about where training's at in February when that time comes. For the race season, I'm obviously thrilled to have finished 5th in the Pro Series last year. That wasn't the end goal, especially after leading it for so long. So I'm chasing that again. I think that makes the most sense for where I'm at, from a physiological perspective, as well as, how last year went. Hopefully we can equal or better. And obviously there's a lot of new names coming to the list this year. But, that I don't think a lot of people would have picked me to be in the top 10 at the start of the year. Definitely wouldn't have picked me to win a Pro Series 70.3, and we made it happen. So, yeah, try not to let the armchair quarterbacks out there, thanks for watching, by the way, try not to let them dictate the schedule too terribly much. But so the schedule, I'm going to start in South Africa. It's been a bucket list race. I've wanted to do that for a long time. It's never really fit in. It doesn't really fit in this year either. I've got to force things a little bit earlier in the year, especially with racing so late into December. But I think that's going to be a good opportunity to go out and just see where everybody is at and see where I'm stacking up early in the year. I think a good chunk of the people will go to South Africa, and a good chunk of the people chasing the Pro Series will go to Oceanside. And so, there'll be a lot of noise around those 2 races, and I'm excited for that. And obviously, Ironman Texas has been on my list pretty much every year, all but one as a pro. And then I'll do St. George. I'm excited that it'll be the last. Well, not excited that it is the last, but I need to be there since it could be the last time that the race is there. Also helps that where my wife works, they have a campus there, and so she'll be there that week anyway for work. And so, Ash and Libby will be there for that one. So it's always a little bit more exciting to race when they're with you. I think we'll even bring Rocky to this one, so that'll be fun. Hopefully he handles the heat all right. Then after that, I'll reassess, most likely do Eagleman, and then we'll see. We'll see what the rest of the summer brings. I'm not quite sure, what will make sense. We'll have to see how the points are shaking out, and then, there might be another surprise race in there or something like that, but we'll wait on that one. Really, the last thing that I had is just kind of a thank you. I don't want to turn this into a huge long sponsor plug, but I've been on Quintana Roo and Hyper Ice. This year will be 10th year. I started with them in 2015, and I've been really fortunate to have some long-lasting partners. I obviously have some newer partnerships that I've had along the way, and some that are in the 4 to 5 year range, and I'll spend plenty of time plugging them in other videos, but definitely that means a lot to me. It feels like more than just a transactional relationship, but it's been fun to be able to use my education and my experience to help on the product side, and just to speak with those products specifically in a way that some other people just don't get the opportunity to. So that's meant a lot to me along the journey. That's really what I've got for you for this update. Like I said, I'm going to be a little bit better about being hopefully at least one a month of just a day to the life that doesn't have anything to do with a post-race recap. That's the goal. So we got 1 out of 12 done. We'll see you for number 2.